The job posting was a lifeline. I was halfway through my master's program at Arizona State, and my student loans were already this huge, suffocating weight. The ad was for Ethelred Geosciences. It was vague, something about a long-term environmental monitoring study. The pay was what got me. It was an insane amount of money for 3 months of work, more than I'd make in a year of bartending. I sent in my application, and to my surprise, they called me back the next day. The site was deep in the Sonoran Desert, about 100 miles west of Phoenix. A guy named Mr. Finch, who had this unnervingly calm demeanor, drove me out. We pulled up to a cluster of about a dozen small, white, futuristic-looking domes. They were scattered across the desert floor, each one at least a half mile from the next. My new home was Dome 4. Inside, it was Spartan, but comfortable. A bed, a small kitchen, a bathroom, and a desk with a terminal computer. Mr. Finch explained the job. It was simple. So simple it felt wrong. Every morning, I had to place my hand on a scanner next to the terminal and then complete a 5-minute cognitive test. Puzzles, memory games, reaction time tests. That was it. Food and water were delivered once a week to a drop box outside. The only rule was to never leave the half-acre perimeter around my dome, marked by a series of short yellow posts. "The isolation is key, Chloe," he said, his voice flat. "We need pure, uncontaminated baseline data. The desert environment is the variable." It sounded plausible enough, so I signed the last of the papers, and he left. The silence he left behind was deafening. A heavy, ringing silence that I'd never experienced before. The first month was almost a vacation. I got into a rhythm. Wake up, do the scan and the test, read, listen to music, watch the sunsets. The money was already hitting my account. It felt like I'd found the world's greatest cheat code. Sometimes I'd use the binoculars they provided to look at the other domes. I'd see a figure moving around outside Dome 7 or a light on in Dome 2. It was comforting to know I wasn't completely alone. The strangeness started in the second month. It started with a sound. At night, I could feel this low, rhythmic hum. It seemed to come from the ground itself, vibrating up through the concrete floor of the dome. I emailed Mr. Finch about it. His reply was instant. "Our sensors show minor tectonic resonance, normal for the region, nothing to be concerned about." But it didn't feel normal. It was too regular, like a slow, deep heartbeat. Then I started watching the guy in Dome 7. I didn't know his name. He was just a silhouette against the setting sun. He started acting erratically, pacing. He'd walk in tight circles around his dome for hours in the middle of the afternoon when the heat was just brutal. One day, he just stood out there, staring straight up at the sun. A few days later, a black SUV, the kind with tinted windows, drove out to his dome. 2 people in what looked like medical scrubs got out and escorted him into the vehicle. It drove away, and I never saw him again. I emailed Mr. Finch. "What happened to the person in Dome 7? The reply came 5 minutes later. "Participant 7 has completed their contract. Please focus on your own monitoring duties." The coldness of it scared me. A new kind of fear, a paranoia that settled deep in my gut. He wasn't a person, just Participant 7. What did that make me? Participant 4? My own results started to slip. At first, it was small things on the cognitive tests. A memory puzzle that usually took me 30 seconds took a full minute. I'd have to reread a sequence of numbers 3 times. I told myself it was the isolation getting to me. The humming was getting worse, too. Louder. I started having these overwhelmingly vivid dreams. Not nightmares exactly, just dreams of complex, shifting geometric patterns, all pulsing with that same low hum. The real fear hit when I started feeling it when I was awake. That deep vibration from the earth. It felt like it was syncing up with my own pulse. I became paranoid. I'd stand at my window for hours, staring out into the darkness beyond my perimeter lights, convinced something was watching me. The desert, which had felt peaceful, now felt hungry. Last week, I woke up and my hand was trembling. I looked down at my palm and I could see this faint web-like pattern under the skin. Dark lines like veins, but in a perfect geometric lattice. I stumbled to the sink, scrubbing up my palm with soap, my heart hammering against my ribs. It didn't wash off. It wasn't on my skin. It was in it. It didn't hurt. It just wasn't mine. The humming wasn't just in the floor anymore. It was in my bones. It felt like it was coming from inside my own head. I tried to do the cognitive test, and my mind was just static. I couldn't remember my own mother's name. I stared at the screen, and the words looked like a language I'd never seen before. I failed. I failed the test completely. The terminal screen, which was always a calm, neutral green, flashed bright, angry red. A single sentence appeared in stark white letters. Biointegrity compromised. Please remain calm. A team is en route for collection. Collection. Not extraction. Not assistance. Collection. Like I was a sample in a petri dish that had finally grown the right kind of mold. I thought of the man in Dome 7, walking in circles under the sun. I thought of the black SUV. I'm writing this on a piece of paper with a pen I found in my bag. I don't know why. Maybe to leave a warning? The humming in my skull is a roar now. It's not just noise anymore. It has a voice. It doesn't use words, but it speaks in patterns and feelings, showing me images of the desert, of the earth, of a vast interconnected consciousness. And the worst part is, I'm starting to understand it. The sun is coming up. I can see the dust trail on the horizon. A vehicle is coming. Mr. Finch's team. I looked at the door of the dome, and then I looked out the window, at the yellow posts marking my cage, and the endless baking desert beyond. They won't take me. I don't know what's growing inside me, but it's mine now, and I'm taking it with me.